When we think of ancient Greece, names like Alexander the Great, Pericles, and Leonidas come to mind. But the Hellenic world is filled with lesser-known rulers whose achievements rival even the most famous kings and generals. From brilliant military strategists to visionary leaders who forged powerful alliances, today we're counting down the top 10 underrated Greek rulers you've probably never heard of, ranked from least to most underrated. Let's dive in. Number 10. Cleomenes III, 235 to 222 BC, the revolutionary Spartan king. Starting our list is Cleomenes III of Sparta. In a time when Spartan society had grown complacent and corrupt, Cleomenes sought to return it to its former glory. His reign was marked by radical reforms aimed at restoring the egalitarian ethos of Lycurgus. He redistributed land, canceled debts, and even expanded the citizen body, granting land to newly created citizens to bolster the dwindling warrior class. But his ambitions didn't stop with domestic reforms. Cleomenes led a campaign against the Achaean League, and for a time, it seemed like he might restore Sparta to its former military dominance. Despite initial victories, his defeat at the Battle of Silesia by Macedonian forces led to his downfall. Though often overlooked, Cleomenes was a reformer ahead of his time, and his efforts to save Sparta were truly remarkable. Number 9. Lysimachus, 360 to 281 BC, the forgotten successor of Alexander. Lysimachus was one of Alexander the Great's trusted generals, but his accomplishments have long been overshadowed by his more famous counterparts like Ptolemy and Seleucus. After Alexander's death, Lysimachus inherited Thrace and parts of Asia Minor. Unlike others who merely fought for territory, Lysimachus proved to be a shrewd ruler, building cities, fostering local cultures, and securing his kingdom against barbarian invasions. Despite his impressive reign, Lysimachus met a tragic end at the Battle of Corupedium, where he was defeated and killed by Seleucus. His once thriving kingdom crumbled soon after, erasing much of his legacy. But make no mistake, Lysimachus was more than just a successor to Alexander. He was a ruler in his own right, whose strategic prowess kept his kingdom stable in a chaotic era. Number 8. Gelon of Syracuse, 540 to 478 BC, the savior of Western Greece. While mainland Greece gets most of the spotlight, Sicily was a vital part of the Greek world. Gelon of Syracuse led a coalition of Sicilian Greeks to one of the greatest victories in Western Greek history, the Battle of Himera in 480 BC. At a time when the Persian Empire was threatening the east, the Carthaginians were looking to conquer the west, and it was Gelon who stood as the bulwark against them. After his stunning victory, Gelon ruled over Syracuse with wisdom and fairness, ensuring his city's prosperity. However, his contributions have often been overshadowed by the events on the Greek mainland, even though his victory was just as significant as those of the Persian Wars. Number 7. Agathocles of Syracuse, 361 to 289 BC, the tyrant who became king. Another figure from Sicily, Agathocles, was a tyrant who clawed his way to power from humble beginnings. Though often branded a ruthless tyrant, Agathocles had a knack for turning the tide in his favor, using both diplomacy and brutal tactics to control Syracuse and much of Sicily. Agathocles didn't stop at local conquests. He took the fight to Carthage, becoming one of the few Greek rulers to lead an army into Africa. Though he couldn't secure a lasting victory against the Carthaginians, his audacious campaign won him recognition and respect. His ruthless rise to power and bold military campaigns have earned him a place on this list. Number 6. Epirus of Epirus, 319 to 272 BC, the man behind Pyrrhic victory. We've all heard of a Pyrrhic victory, but the man behind the phrase Pyrrhus of Epirus is often overlooked. A brilliant military tactician, Pyrrhus was known for his ambitious campaigns against Rome. His victories against the Romans were hard-fought and devastating, so much so that he reportedly said, "If we are victorious in one more battle with the Romans, we shall be utterly ruined." Though Pyrrhus never succeeded in defeating Rome for good, his tactics influenced later military strategies. He's often remembered for his costly victories, but Pyrrhus was more than a cautionary tale. He was one of the greatest generals of his time. Before we continue the list, take a moment to click the like button and subscribe to the channel for more historical content. Number 5. Demetrius I of Macedon, 337 to 283 BC, the besieger of cities. Demetrius, known as the besieger of cities, was a master of siege warfare. As a key player during the Wars of the Diadochi, the wars between Alexander the Great's successors, Demetrius's ingenuity and use of technology set him apart from his contemporaries. His siege of Rhodes, though ultimately unsuccessful, became legendary for the sheer scale and complexity of the machinery used. Demetrius was eventually crowned king of Macedon, but political turmoil would see him lose his kingdom. His skills as a military innovator, however, have cemented his place in history. Number 4. Archelaus of Macedon, 413 to 399 BC, the visionary reformer. Long before Philip II transformed Macedon into a regional powerhouse, Archelaus was the one who laid the groundwork. Archelaus reformed the military, improved infrastructure, and turned Pella into a vibrant cultural center by inviting poets, musicians, and philosophers from across the Greek world. Though not a conqueror like his successors, Archelaus's reforms strengthened Macedon and prepared it for the glory that would follow under Philip and Alexander. His efforts in building a strong foundation for the kingdom often go unrecognized, but without him, the Macedonian Empire might never have existed. Number 3. Gorgo of Sparta, circa 506 BC, the queen who outwitted the Persians. Spartan women were known for their independence, and Gorgo, queen of Sparta, was perhaps the most remarkable of them all. As the wife of King Leonidas, Gorgo played a critical role in advising her husband and helping to steer Sparta during the Persian Wars. According to Herodotus, she even deciphered a secret message warning the Greeks of Xerxes' impending invasion, a crucial piece of intelligence. Though she never led troops into battle, Gorgo's influence was immense, and her cunning political acumen ensured Sparta's survival during one of its darkest hours. Number 2. Philip II of Macedon, 382 to 336 BC, the builder of empires. Though overshadowed by his son Alexander, Philip II deserves recognition in his own right. He was the architect of Macedon's rise to power, transforming a disorganized and vulnerable kingdom into a military juggernaut. His innovations, such as the creation of the Macedonian phalanx and his use of diplomacy, laid the foundation for Alexander's future conquests. Without Philip's vision and leadership, there would be no Macedonian empire. Though often lost in the shadow of his son's conquests, Philip II's strategic genius and state building were crucial to the success of the Macedonian Empire. He unified Greece through the League of Corinth and established Macedon as a dominant force in the ancient world. His assassination left the throne to Alexander, but Philip's legacy was the true groundwork for the vast empire that followed. Number 1. Ptolemy I Soter, 367 to 282 BC, the pharaoh who founded a dynasty. Topping our list is Ptolemy I Soter, one of Alexander the Great's closest generals, and the founder of the Ptolemaic dynasty in Egypt. After Alexander's death, while other successors fought fiercely for control, Ptolemy shrewdly secured Egypt, one of the wealthiest regions of the ancient world. He not only ruled Egypt but integrated Greek and Egyptian cultures, establishing Alexandria as a center of learning and commerce. Ptolemy's vision didn't stop at political rule. He founded the famous Library of Alexandria, attracting scholars from all over the world, making the city the intellectual capital of the Hellenistic world. His dynasty would rule Egypt for nearly 300 years, with Cleopatra VII being its last monarch. Ptolemy's ability to merge cultures and build an enduring legacy makes him the most underrated ruler on our list. These 10 rulers may not have the same recognition as the giants of history, but their contributions shaped the world in ways we still feel today. Whether through military conquests, cultural advancements, or political reforms, these leaders played crucial roles in the ancient world, deserving far more credit than history has granted them. Which one surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more dives into the hidden corners of history.